Guys, welcome back to another episode of Soaring Highs and Crushing Lows. Today is Tuesday, January 9th. Tomorrow, Wednesday, January 10th, the episode from Epstein Island should be out. And if you thought that episode was disturbing, this episode is going to be no better. I actually did not know about this case until a few people commented on me. They love to hear my opinion on the Gypsy Rose situation. And quite frankly, I don't understand how this slipped under my radar. I consider myself someone who's very up to date on pop culture, if you will. I'm up to date on spicy events that go on in the country. And this has all the makings of something I would be very interested in. However, it is disturbing. I should warn you, we're dealing with child abuse. Actually, we're dealing with some of the worst case of child abuse I've ever heard. We're dealing with autism. We're dealing with gruesome murder. We're dealing with rape, which isn't new to this show, given that now that it's 2024, both episodes involve rape. That's great. This year's off to an optimistic start. But this story is hard to understand, and there's a lot going on in it. So listen, if I say things that are wrong or out of context, just know that I'm an idiot with a podcast, okay? Nothing I say should be taken literal. Everything I say should be questioned, and everything I say should be researched for on your own, because in all likelihood it's wrong. And it's an opinion show, it's a fun show, but let's dive into it, if you will. Okay, in 1991, this young lady was born in Louisiana. Okay, and we're going to zip through this story because we got to get to the good parts. But I don't know much about her life up until about Hurricane Katrina comes. And her mother, who later you'll find out that her mother is actually the devil herself, they moved to Missouri. Okay, when they get to Missouri, what happened was during Katrina, all these people across the country wanted to take in people from Louisiana. These people have been displaced. Let's help them. So they end up in this small town in Missouri, and these people are very Christian-like people. So they feel bad that here is this huge woman, okay? Gypsy Rose's mother was named Dee Dee. She looked like the mother in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, okay? She was a big woman, a behemoth of a woman. One of the kind of woman you look at her and you go, how did she reproduce? Someone had sex with her? That's my first thought when I looked at this. And the story progressively gets worse from there. So they moved to this small town in Missouri, right? And like I said, guys, if you're up to date with this case and I'm saying stuff that's wrong, please don't be offended by it. I'm an idiot with a podcast. We already went over this. Now, when they get there, the girl Gypsy Rose basically looks like a leukemia patient. She looks like a child that is, going through it. Her teeth are all mangled. Her head is shaved. She's in a wheelchair. And the mom looks like the mother from Gilbert Grape. So everyone is a little, oh my God, these poor people from Louisiana, we got to help them. And bless the hearts of these people from this town in Missouri. Because, they go above and beyond to help them. They feel bad. They get them a house with a handicap ramp. And for the most part, everything seems fine and dandy. Here's the problem. The broad Gypsy Rose, the who I thought was a child, who the rest of the town thought was a child, was really like a grown woman. She was born in 1991. She was 19. I think everyone thought she was 12. She had this little shaved head, and she was a little creepy little thing. But her mother made all this stuff up, told everyone she had leukemia, she was a paraplegic, and people genuinely felt bad for her. But what was really going on was one of the most horrific cases of child abuse I've ever heard. The mother controlled everything this poor little girl did. She didn't know anything else. Okay, now let's fast forward a couple years later. Gypsy Rose goes out and she gets a laptop. And she goes on this website, Christian Mingle. Okay? I've been on a lot of dating sites. I've been on Hinge. I've been on Bumble. I've had no success And after this story, I have no interest in going on Christian Mingle because this sounds like where all the crazies are. If you thought Tinder was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet than what you're going to find on Christian Mingle. And she meets this dude, I forget his name, and he's from Wisconsin. I don't fuck. He's from a Midwestern state. This shit would only go on in the Midwest, by the way. No way this is going on inner city. Because people in inner cities, we question shit. I'd already be questioning, what's going on with this broad? What's going on with her mother? What happened? They don't do that out there. They're, I don't want to call them naive. They're just very nice people. So they're taking care of this girl. She meets this guy. And there's, by the way, Gypsy Rose had to go undercover to buy this laptop. Dee Dee would never allow this to happen. So somehow she gets the funds to get the laptop, and she gets on Christian Mingle, and she meets this guy from Wisconsin. They're going back and forth, okay? Long story short, they decide that he's going to come to Missouri. He's going to take a Greyhound bus across 3 states. By the way, this boy is severely autistic. Where are the parents? Okay, I'm 33, living in my parents' house. I don't know they're letting me get on a Greyhound bus, and I'm 33. They're just letting a teenage autistic boy get on a Greyhound bus across the country. But anyway, he does this. And this is a big night for our girl Gypsy Rose, because Gypsy Rose never went to school. Gypsy Rose was raised on Disney. This sick, fat, sadistic bitch that was her mother, Dee Dee, never got her in school. She basically used this child as a pawn. Okay, the child, that's how she used this little girl. So she's all excited. It's the premiere of Cinderella. Okay? So Gypsy Rose is actually dressed up. Mind you, she's in a wheelchair and she has no teeth and a bald head. She's dressed up as Cinderella for the premiere of the remaking of Cinderella. And this boy, he came all the way across country. But remember, he can't meet Dee Dee because, number one, Dee Dee might try and eat him, that fat ogre, that fat behemoth of a woman. She might try and eat him. So this has to be done in secret. So Gypsy says, listen, meet me at the movie theater. So I don't know how this works, guys. I have no idea how this works. I don't think we're ever going to get the true story, but Gypsy and her fat mother go to the movie premiere. And Gypsy, at some point, wheels her way out of the movie theater, meets up with the boy. I forget his name, and I'm sorry because I've only found out about this story like 6 hours ago. She meets up with the dude, and they fuck in the handicap stall at the movie theater. Okay? So, let me take a sip of my Pinot Noir. And that's the most... I'm listening to this story for the first time today. I said, I'm sorry, what? What? They had sex? And she's got... What? I'm confused, and I think everybody is. So now, this happens. I don't know how he goes, go back into the movie now. I don't know how you watch the rest of Cinderella after losing your virginity in the bathroom stall at an AMC. But my God, that's something else. So now, that night, like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of it all. I know that I have the gist of it. That night, basically, Gypsy goes back to the house and invites the boy from Wisconsin over, and he goes full on Michael Myers. Okay? He thinks it's Halloween. He thinks he's in the movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. He starts stabbing this bitch. And he almost decapitates her, from what I heard. And he kills Gypsy Rose's mother. So the two of them flee. Okay? They're going back to Wisconsin. They're posting on Facebook. Just kill that bitch. Things of that nature. By the way, not the smartest thing here, but we're dealing with someone that's severely traumatized by being abused by her mother who just got decapitated. And we're dealing with a autistic boy who's madly in love and just got his first taste of pussy in an AMC movie theater. Okay? Like I said, this is the craziest story I've ever heard in my life. There's so many variables going on here. Now, remember earlier when I said the whole town felt bad because Gypsy Rose was handicapped and she may have leukemia. And by the way, we do this every episode. Here comes a fart. Ready? Ooh! Sean, keep that in. Anyway, they get to Wisconsin. They're posting this stuff, and the FBI is able to track you down. By the way, if you ever commit a crime, throw the phone away. It's real simple. Anyway, the FBI finds them, and there's a standoff. Okay? The autistic boy, he has a knife. So they pull them in. They arrest both of them. And Gypsy Rose, by the way, here's the other thing. Up until this point, everyone thinks she's handicapped. After they arrest her, they have her in the room, she's up walking around. Okay? So this whole thing was a lie. The mother made up the whole lie. There was nothing wrong with this girl. Maybe there was, but the mother really did all this to her. She brainwashed her. She tortured her. She tied her to the bed. She really fucked this girl up. Nonetheless, the mother's dead now. Who killed the mom? We're stuck. We're at a standstill. So, Gypsy Rose is doing the whole classic. What? My mom died? Really? What? I love my mom. No. We've seen it a million times. We're not buying it. And the detective is like, what's going on here? This broad's up walking around. I thought she was handicapped. And in the other room is the autistic boy. And he starts going on and on about how he has multiple personalities. And one of his personalities is a 500-year-old vampire named, what the hell is his name? Victor. His other personality is a 500-year-old vampire named Victor. If you're listening to this podcast right now, you're probably going, what the fuck is going on? And I'm doing the same thing. So, basically, Gypsy Rose meets this guy who's got multiple personalities. One of them's a 500-year-old vampire. He comes, butchers the mom. Now they're both in custody. And it comes out that these two did the murder. Okay? Is that enough for you? My head was spinning. I'm listening to this earlier because someone said, hey, you should do a podcast on Gypsy Rose. Like, who the fuck's Gypsy Rose? Sounds like a Cher song. So, what we have now is a dead child abusing mother. Actually, we have a dead, sadistic, twisted, evil, vile, scumbag mother that's dead. We have Gypsy Rose, who the town in Missouri thought was this little girl who was a paraplegic, who had leukemia, who had no teeth, who was in a wheelchair, had a bald head, is now a suspect in the murder with a boy from, I don't know how fucking far Missouri is from Wisconsin, because those flyover states, no offense, I don't really care about. But it's probably pretty far. We have an autistic boy that traveled miles and miles and miles to have sex and then kill a girl's mom. Now, here's the thing. I think we said it before on this show, and I'll say it again, and this is offensive, so if there's kids in the car, please turn down the volume. A cunt hair can pull a freight train. Now, that statement goes for every man out there, a lonely man that gets seduced by a woman. Please. Are we going to cross state lines? Yes. Are we going to cross international borders? Yes. Okay? We're going to go as far, I'll go to Alaska. I'll meet you in Anchorage if it seemed like the real deal. I draw the line at the whole, killing the mother in the bathroom. I think that was a little too far, but listen. This kid, he's got his own problems. He's autistic. He thinks he's a 500-year-old vampire named Victor. And the two of them have never had a romantic relationship. And I want to interrupt real quick, and I'm going to be inappropriate here. This is very inappropriate. And if you're offended, you're going to be offended by this. Just want to pause real quick, intermission. So basically, Stephen Hawking and Gypsy Rose are fucking more than me. I'm having a cold streak here, and Stephen Hawking and Gypsy Rose are basically having orgies. So that's something that's really got me down the dumps about 2024. Anyway, I digress. The case goes to trial, and Gypsy Rose basically is saying that the boy she met on christianmingle.com is the one who killed her, and she didn't want him to, blah blah blah. The autistic kid is saying, well, wait a second, I got this 500-year-old vampire living in my head, Victor. Victor was the one that told me to kill this broad. I got multiple personalities, and Victor, the 500-year-old vampire, is the one that told me to do it. So it goes to trial, and Gypsy Rose gets second-degree murder. She gets 10 years. This guy gets life in prison. Now, the only reason this is even relevant now, guys, is because last week, Gypsy Rose got out of jail on December 28th. And she's married. Okay? Let that sink in. If you're listening to this right now and you're not married and you're single and you're lonely and you're thinking, am I ever going to meet someone? Think about what I just told you, that story, okay? That chick is married to another guy. And I know what you're thinking. No, it's not the 500-year-old vampire named Victor. She's married to a guy that she met online. So she's out of prison now, and she's got this long hair. She looks normal. She's married. They're fucking. I saw the interview. She said, she goes, well, in prison, all we could do was hold hands. So the first thing I'm going to do is consummate our relationship. When am I going to consummate a relationship? I'll settle for holding hands. And these people are out here fucking left and right. I just cannot believe it. And this guy's the real monster of the whole story is the guy that's Gypsy Rose's husband now. Because it's like, dude, you know all this and you're married to this girl? And I guess people want to know, well, okay, Frank, what's your final analysis of the whole story? My final analysis, oh, God, this is a tricky one. Let's see. First of all, we can blame the mom because she's a diabolical, she's a child abuser, she's sadistic, she's a monster. Okay, so I'm glad she's dead. So we can blame her, but she's dead, so what can we do? Gypsy Rose, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this chick. Sure, she was abused for years, but it's like, don't you ever go like, hey, I can walk. You know, believe me, she could walk. She was a sprung chicken. So I don't really know about her. Then we have this poor bastard from Wisconsin who all he wanted. Well, he has multiple personalities, so he's probably in the long run he was going to end up killing someone. All this guy wanted was a taste of some puss, and he would stop at nothing to get some vag. And did he take it too far? Yes. So I don't know who's to blame here. I blame the mother. The mother, Dee Dee, is a monster. She's in hell. She should be burning. If there is a hell, that woman needs to be burning in hell. But there's another person in this whole story that people forget about that I think is really getting a bad rep. And that's the 500-year-old vampire, Victor. This poor guy is probably living in Transylvania somewhere. As you know, vampires are immortal. So he's still living in Transylvania, and he's probably going, what the fuck? I had nothing to do with this. So the real victim at the end of the day, it might be Victor the vampire. That's the only person I find less to blame. It's a horrible story, but my God. And the crazy part about this is how the hell did I not know about this? That really swept under the radar. I'm sorry if these stories are offensive, but you got to keep in mind, I'm not doing anything wrong here. I'm just giving my opinion on these stories. I didn't go to the island. I wasn't involved with child abuse. I'm just a 33-year-old guy living in my parents' basement, spewing off podcasts. We're having some fun with it. I want to remind everyone that February 3rd is the next night for stand-up comedy. Now, real quick, we're going to get into a few other things here before we end the episode. Listen, tonight is Tuesday, January 9th. It's nasty outside. It's pouring rain outside. It's windy. I need a certain group of people to listen up if they're listening to this podcast, if you drive a truck, F-150, four-wheel drive, dude, do me a favor, slow the fuck down. You know, these truckers, they love to say, a little bit of rain, everybody forgets how to drive. Yeah, dickhead, because our cars weren't meant to drive through these puddles. First of all, we don't know how deep the water is, okay? We're driving with caution. We don't have four-wheel drive. We don't have these high beams that you have. We're driving with caution, so get off our ass. Every time it rains, every guy that has an F-150, can you believe these fucking pussies don't know how to drive? Dickhead, try driving our car, and next time we'll run you off the road. So, truck drivers out there, calm the fuck down. Now, here's something else going on in Philadelphia. By the way, in the city of Philadelphia, if you have a job, if you follow the rules, if you drive the speed limit, if you register your car, you are the idiot. Okay? Because you're the one that's going to be more likely to get ticketed. You're the one that's going to be more likely to get stabbed. You're the one that's more likely to get killed. Now, why do I say this? Because there was a crossing guard in Philadelphia today who was just assaulted by a pack of animals. That's all you can call them, a pack of animals. And it was teenagers, but they beat the shit out of this crossing guard who's just trying to do her job. Last week we had a guy at Macy's. He was a prevention loss officer, which is a ridiculous name. Prevention loss officer. Give these people guns. They're dealing with criminals. Let them have a gun. And he was stabbed to death. So I tell you this, all this stuff is going on in Philadelphia, all this horrible thing. And the real issue in the city right now is what the fuck are we going to do about this William Penn statue? This is what's on. I mean, I cannot make this stuff up. This is what's on the news. There's people getting stabbed, people getting killed. And they're like, well, in 1867, William Penn had slaves. All right. Great. Okay. I mean, what are we going to do about it now? There's people going to work every day. By the way, mostly the two people that got stabbed, African Americans, they're going to work. They're doing the best they can to provide for their families, and they're getting stabbed at work. And we're worried about a statue. A statue. Guys, let me tell you something. You're never going to get stabbed by a statue. Okay? It's never going to happen. I wonder where our priorities are in this city. Also, does anyone even fucking have a clue where this William Penn statue is? There's 6 million people living in Philadelphia. I bet you under 3,000 of them know where that William Penn statue is. I have no clue where it is. I didn't know it was so offensive. But apparently someone's offended by it. How much time do you got to have in your day to be walking by a statue and go, what the fuck is that statue? Did that statue just say something to me? And go, you know what? Forget about the crime. Forget about the poverty. Forget about the murders. Forget about the carjackings. I'm going to take down that fucking statue. So that's what we're dealing with in Philadelphia. Also, in other news in Philadelphia, we have a new jerk-off of the week. And I never met this guy. No one in Philadelphia ever met this guy. And no one in Philadelphia ever will meet this guy. His name, I think, is Cutter Gauthier or some bullshit. Cutter Gauthier. I can't pronounce any NHL guy's name. They're all French. However, this guy's from America. His name's Cutter, and he decided that he does not want to play for the Flyers. Well, got news for you, Cutter. We don't give a fuck. We don't want you here. You don't want to be here? Guess what? None of us want to be here. You think we chose? This is where we want to live our lives? No. We're Philadelphians. You don't want to be here? Get the fuck out. He's going to Anaheim. Actually, you know what? Anaheim sounds like a nice place. But I actually really like the Flyers this year. I'm hoping they can do good. It's funny because in the NHL and a lot of professional sports these days, we hear about these guys' mental health. Oh, the NBA players and their mental health. Oh, are they okay? Listen, you're making millions and millions and millions. You're having sex with models. You're eating at the best restaurants. You only work like 8 months out of the year. You work about 5 hours a day, everybody adores you. I just hope you're okay. That sounds like a lot. I mean, I think that my friend Victor, the 500-year-old vampire, he's probably the only person I know that can relate to you. That sounds like depression. I mean, could you imagine, though? What would you rather do? And we'll end on this. Would you rather play basketball for 3 hours a night, travel around the country, eating at the best restaurants, sleeping with the best looking women, or here's your other option. You can get a job, I don't know, doing concrete, living with your parents, having no money, eating Chef Boyardee. Yeah, which one would you pick? Because, I mean, these NBA guys, I've never seen a group of guys. Listen, you get to any job site across the country, no one on these job sites has as much mental health problems as an NBA team. I mean, these poor bastards. They're playing basketball. They're making millions. I just hope that they're okay. So, guys, when you go to sleep at night tonight, just do me a favor. Say a little prayer for those NBA guys. They're going through it. Also, real quick, Gypsy Rose is now free. She's married. And you might be wondering, hey, how did Gypsy Rose meet her husband that she's dating now? And I'm ashamed to admit this, but I will, because why not? There's an Instagram page called Insta Shawties. And basically what it is it takes mug shots of beautiful women and tells you what they did. I don't know how I came across this page, but I did. And some of the women are just beautiful. And when I was lonely down in Florida, I didn't know one to talk to. It was just me. I'm not going to lie to you. I inquired about how to obtain a female inmate pen pal. I thought, hey, maybe I could find a beautiful inmate. I could become pen pals with her and I could change her. I realized that that's an insane idea. I did not go through with it. However, now that I see Gypsy Rose is happily married, they're having casual sex, and everything's great, I might be going back to that page. Check out that Instagram page, Insta Shawties. That's INSTASHAWTY. Insta Shawties. And let me tell you something, man. There's a lot of good-looking women on there. Just real quick, full disclosure. I did this episode once, and I didn't like it. But I was already on my third glass of Pinot Noir. During this episode, I finished my fourth glass, so probably a little drunk for this episode. That's why I hire Fafa Fui, the best editor in the game. I don't think anything was that offensive. Once again, if anyone was offended, I apologize. But we will see you next week on Soaring Highs and Crushing Lows.